Reverend Margo Alora. I've known her for 30 plus years. I met her at the Fraternal Christian Church, First Christian Church, with Reverend Millie, a long time ago.
Yep.
Margo Alora has entered the spiritual path after receiving sporadic messages in 1983. In Boulder, Colorado, her teaching career was complete, and it was time to add spirituality to her life. Plus, she would be moving. Her mother's poor health brought her here to San Diego, and her mother's transition established her back to living in San Diego and taking classes from spiritual teachers and science of mind teachers. She was ordained at Fraternal Spiritualist Church in 1985. Her spiritual path has taken her to Russia and Mexico. She is currently speaking and giving workshops at spiritual churches as well as the Center for Spiritual Living. She's had ongoing classes called Saturdays with Angels for 19 years at this Universal Spiritual Center. She recently identified herself as an explorer of divine love, joy, peace, and abundance, believing that God can never be stagnant and it isn't our destiny to be stuck or stagnant either. We are here to expand and stretch to unseen vibrations, to luxuriate in intimacy with the divine. Let's please give a warm welcome to Reverend Maria.
Good morning. Good morning. Margo. Well, I'm starting off this talk with one of my beliefs. Sometimes, beliefs are the pathways that you live by, right? And sometimes the belief can get a little shaken. Well, mine can. But I know that this one works. And the belief is that the universe, or God, is constantly conspiring for my good. I believe that. So this morning, I was getting together my talk, and I have, page here, page there, and I thought, well, I'll just put it on the computer, and then put it in big font, and then I'll have it here for today. So I finished it about 20 minutes till 10, and I knew what I was going to wear, so I thought I'll print it, get out the door at 10, and what happened? Well, apparently if you have something else open on your computer, and then you do the writing on top of that, it prints the wrong thing. So now I have pages of an old schedule that I don't need. And I tried to get it to print the talk, and it didn't. Now it said you can do this and you can go here and you maybe can open a printer here, and that's not for me. So I went into the faith that the universe is conspiring for my good, that I can give you the talk. I mean, I've certainly written it a couple times actually, and then I wrote it again today. So it's here. And so I believe with divine guidance and love, I call them my team now. That's my angels, my ancestors, and my guides. With them here, I'll give you the talk. That was all organized, no looking black and white and good big font. I guess it's in the ethers and not here. So, life. And I don't feel very shaken. I mean, number one, you love me, so that helps a lot. And number two, if my humanness is going to jump on my spirituality and put it into, well, it has to look like this, and I've been living really good life, so it's got to, if I do that, then I'm not, in my opinion, being guided by spirituality, being guided by the love of the divine. I'm sort of taking God and putting my humanness on top, and folks, that's very limiting of God. That is very limiting and a little boring. I mean, isn't life bigger like this? And here I am, pages and pages, handwritten. So I know that you and I are connected, So one of the first things I'd like to start out with is actually, 2 months ago, I went to Tanzania, Africa. Long, long flight, but with a very nice group. And so we were in Africa, that part of Africa, and Zanzibar. And there's something about, this is the third time I've been to that area, well, Africa. I've also been to the continent in other ways. There's something about the land, and there's something about the people that reinforces actually one of my other beliefs, and that is that God is everywhere. And I believe that we were put on this earth plane in different parts of the earth so that we could adapt. So people in the indigenous areas where there's a lot of snow and there's a lot of ice, they developed a little fat up here to protect their eyes. And their eyes became a little less open so that they would have sight. And in Africa, they developed fine, fine, fine hair, but lots and lots of it, and it had to curl to protect them. I believe that is all of God's design, not that God's saying, well, your skin should be this color and that, but that the divine in each of us adapts and can walk with the seed of God in us in different parts of the world. So in Africa, there's a saying, and it's sort of visceral, and it's that you can do it. You can do it. And there's an understanding that it might not be easy. In metaphysical terms, we might talk about it looks dark, it looks dark, it looks dark, but it's not always dark. Even in an eclipse, there's a little light. And the people in Africa go for the light. And there's a very positive, visceral attitude with people. I never heard anybody saying, oh, that man's carrying, 100 pounds of sticks, oh. It's more like, oh, you can do it. So the light is always present, not always seen. And my experience of being in Africa is they know it, and they go for it with the grace of God. So then, so I was there, then I came back for a little bit of time, and then I went off to Europe, to Spain and Portugal. And there I had different, a lot of education. There's so much I don't know about, 1400, 1500, 1600, and they have houses, that go back that far. And they have a lot of churches. What they told me was this church maybe only started in 1600 and finished in 1800, but under that there was another church that was older. So there's that kind of depth to spirituality, and that kind of depth, that kind of pride, that sharing of music and musical instruments that are so old, and that sort of touches you in a different way. I mean, I don't have anything in my house from the 1400s or 1500s or 1600s. I know we were here as North Americans, but that we didn't have, we didn't write things down, and we didn't build castles and stuff that would survive that long. So that was, I feel like it added a depth to me, that God created us, and that we've been creating, and there's a lot of ways to feel the divine. There's, I think was it Portugal? Spain? I get that a little mixed up. One of them, they had bagpipes. And I'm going, what are bagpipes doing here? Well, apparently Ireland came in and did a lot of subjugating the people, because it's war after war after war. Can't even keep up with all the wars. And then from that, the bagpipe has sustained itself. So it just reminds me over and over that my life here, I love my life. It doesn't quite have the history and that history is also a part of the spirituality. And that I feel like God is here, and then people do not, in my opinion, have power over God. People do the best they can in religions, and there's so many, and that's good, but they cannot have power over the divine. Does that make sense to you? So, with that, I saw people talking about their grandparents and great-grandparents. They do that a lot in Europe, because that's sort of all, that history is so alive. But also knowing that there's nothing in God to separate us. There's everything in God to know us as one. And that is a knowing that I'm carrying in my heart. So I was thinking about what could we also carry as I traveled with 12 people that didn't know my spirituality. That we were talking about death and being afraid of death. And I invite you, as I did very gently, but I said, I'm not afraid of death. And we started talking about that. Now, later, they found out that, I can give messages and we all can give messages. But at that time, it was just a step. So if you ever have an opportunity to share the fact that death is not scary, and that really death, we're going to start replacing that word someday with transition, and that there is no thing as killing your soul. Your soul is forever, and it doesn't get hurt by anything. So in this group, it was a chance just to say, no, I'm not scared of death. And since I'm the closest in ages to, they were younger, they listened. I was like, if she's 84 and she's not afraid. So it was interesting, but I want you to think about that gently. We don't want to be jumping down to somebody, hey, you idiot, don't you know? We're not going there. But we're going with the truth. I'm not afraid of death. I know I might be a tiny bit afraid of pain, because I'm not into that. But I'm not afraid to release my body and know my soul will be dwelling with those that I've known, and with the angels and ancestors and the guides. So that was part of what I learned, is traveling in Europe, and traveling with 12 people. Well, a couple I knew. So I'm going to look at my notes, because I just wanted to share some other stuff. I feel like if God wanted all of us to be the same color and the same size and the same language, we would be. I just believe that. So I believe that the differences that we are sharing as a one whole, completely touched in the seed of God, I believe that what our opportunity to do, just like sharing there is no death, is to sharing that these differences don't separate us. These differences give us juicy things to share, juiciness in the understanding. Oh, that's why you eat this food, or why this is why you do this. That it is a juiciness of the oneness that we are, with different languages and different skin colors, different hair, different even holidays. These differences are, in my opinion, to be shared and enjoyed. And I enjoyed it there. The food, I gained 5 pounds, so you know that the food was really interesting. A lot of more fish than I expected where we were. Very, very good. So let me just get this note so I shares everything. Love is a power, and when used with kindness and compassion, can bring about miracles. And I believe Jesus did that. And I believe that you and I are capable of being part of miracles. And if someone is talking about the differences of somebody because their hair is different or their skin is different, we can either quietly step up or not, but be a presence for the oneness that we are. And I know even silently, people can feel the power of the truth. We are one. God doesn't look at me and say, oh, what silly pale skin you have, Margo. Didn't work so well. God doesn't do that. God doesn't know what color skin I have. Another thing, we focus on the nature of the miracle. And we continue to focus on the miracles of that we are all here, that we can communicate, that the love of the divine is a power. When I was being young, when I was younger, we didn't quite know that. It was almost like love was considered not very important. Now we know the importance of love, the importance of knowing that the divine wraps itself around each one of us. Feels so good. And we're fortunate that we know that life is everlasting and that we have connections, we have support from angels and ancestors and guides. And I don't want anybody to, well, I know, I don't force that on anybody. But when we're going somewhere, I ask for angels to help me with parking. And, you know, if they don't believe in it, that's fine. I can bet on who gets the parking place. Yeah, it's just true. And sometimes people say to me, like, you don't look like feel like you're 84. And whatever that is. But it is about, I think, carrying a light, the best I can to be aware that the divine is here to be shared. And that kind of, that belief attracts others. Because it is a belief that the divine is here, present in this day. Not just in a Bible or somewhere, but present here. So, I appreciate your time and your presence, and I encourage you to travel where you can and know that God's always with you, and wherever you're going, God's there too. Thank you.
Thank you.